Right, welcome to our third lesson on finding gradients. We've looked at the previous lesson how to find the gradient of a line if you've been given 2 points in it. So what I want you to do is basically pause the video and try question 7 and 8 using the formula that gradient is always equals to change in y. So y in the second position, take away y in the first position, divided by x in the second point, take away x at the first point. Okay, this is how to find the gradient. So I would like you to do the same for question 7 and 8, please. Pause the video and try 7 and 8. Right, so hope you've tried that. Question 7 says, plot the points u being -1 and 2 and v being 2 and 5 on a square grid. Then find the gradient of the line containing points u and v. Now, without doing anything, even without sketching that, quite easy, this v would be the 2's, and that's going to be the y's. So to do this, all I'm going to need to do is to find the value of y at second point, which is going to be 5, take away the value of y at the first point. So it's going to be 5, take away 2. Okay, as for the x is 2, take away -1. So it's going to be 2 there, take away -1. So 5 take away 2 is 3, and 2 take away -1 becomes 3. So the answer is going to be 1. So that's how to do that. So you can do it even without sketching it. But of course, in exam, if they ask you to sketch it, do sketch. Question 8, you do the very, very same way. This will be 2's and this will be 1's. Okay. So I want you to pause the video quickly and just mark your answer. So question 7, that's the grid for you with the sketching that they were asking. And then as for question 8, the answer is going to be a half if you did it completely. Right? Now moving over to the next questions, I would like you to pause the video and try question 9 and question 10. Pause the video and try question 9 and question 10. Okay, hope you've tried them. So with this, I'm just going to pick question E for you. We've been told that find the gradients of the lines containing each of the following pairs of points as a ratio in its simplest form and as a percentage. Okay, the first thing to do here, I'm going to use the formula that the gradient equals to y2 take away y1 over x2 take away x1. Okay, the 2's will be these numbers here. So I've got 3 take away 9. 3 take away 9 is basically going to be -6. Okay, and then I'm going to have excess, so -2 take away 2, which is going to be -4. Okay, now simplifying this one, negative divided by negative is positive, so I've got 6/4. And then simplifying this by halving them each, that's going to be 3/2. Okay, so in terms of fraction, the gradient is 3 and 2. Now in terms of ratio, it's going to be 3 to 2. It means the same thing. It means that for every 3 steps I'm making up on the y, I'm actually moving 2 steps across on the x. That's what it is. Okay. Another thing I can do is to change these three halves into percentage. Now to change 3 halves into percentage, there are too many ways I could do this. I could make the bottom one 100. Remember, percentage means out of 100. So the 2 becomes 100, which means I'm timesing by 50 there. So I need to times by 50 here, so I've got 150. So here the gradient is 150%. Okay. If the grade is 100%, it means it's basically the grade of 1. So that's how to do this kind of questions. So I'm going to just show you the answers quickly if you want to very quickly mark your work. Okay, so if you want to mark your work quickly. Right, so hope you done well on that one. I'm going to move on now to to the next questions for you. So pause the video and try question 11, which is typically an exam question. Right, so I hope you've tried them. So I'm just going to go over question A for you and then maybe question C. Now, a line with a gradient of 1 that goes through points 3 and 5 and 7 and 4. What they want us to do is basically to find what A stands for. Okay, you're going to be using algebra here. So what we are saying is this, that if you do y2 take away y1 over x2 take away x1, you need to get 1. That's what they're saying here, right? So y at point 2 take away y at point 1. Now y at point 2 here we're having is basically a, because that's point 2 is a, and at point 1 is 5. Okay, and then we're going to divide by x. X at point 2 is 7, and at point 1 is 3. So 7 take away 3. Now, this should actually give us 1 really, because they've said the grade is 1. Okay? All right, so carrying on from that, I've got A take away 5 divided by 4, because 7 take away 3 is 4, and that should give me 1. Okay, now we're going to be solving here. What I need to do is to make A the subject. To do that, I'm going to need to get rid of this divide by 4 first. To get rid of divide by 4, you do the opposite, which is timesing. So you're going to times both sides by 4, or you just times that side by 4. That's the way of sometimes looking at it. So that's going to be 1 times by 4. Okay? Because if you times by 4 both sides, this 4 will cancel 1 that you're going to times by here. So we normally just say you times the other side by 4. But basically it means you times both sides. Right, so I've got A take away 5 is basically 4. Now to find what A is now, we're going to need to add 4 the other side. Or to add 5 both sides, which is like moving this negative 5 the other side. So that's going to be A equals to 4 plus 5, because it becomes positive when you cross over, that becomes 9. So A is basically 9 there. Okay? So that's how to do that. So set it up as an equation and just solve it. Now looking at question C, you do it the very, very same way. So looking at question C, you do it the very, very same way. Very, very same way. Okay. So question C says a line with a grade of a half that goes through points 0, 0 and 8 and C, this one. Right? So let's see how to do that. Again, set it up. So y at the second point is C, and at the first point is 0. So we're going to do C take away 0. Okay. And the next thing is x. X at point 2 is 8, and at point 1 is going to be 0. So it's 8 take away 0. And that should actually give us what? A half. Okay? Because they've said that grade is a half. So equate it to a half. Right, so carry on with that. I've got here C at the top, and I've got 8 at the bottom. That should then give me a half. Okay? Now, there are 2 ways of looking at this. What you should notice is that what we did when I was doing algebra, solving questions like this, is basically to cross multiply them. Okay? Now let's prove how that one works. I know that one half is the same as, say, for example, 3 over 6 if I simplify. So these ones are the same. So 1/2 is the same as 3 over 6. Now, what happens if you cross multiply? If you do 6 times 1 and write it there, and you do 2 times 3 and write it here, you should notice that they're actually equal. So if you cross multiply, 6 by 1 will give the same thing as 2 by 3. So you can apply the same principle even on this. So you do 2 times C, which is going to be 2C. That should give the same thing as 8 times by 1, which is going to be 8. Okay? Then once you got this, then you can divide both sides by 2. So C will actually become 4. So you do 8 divided by 2. So that's going to be 4. So C is 4 on the last part. Okay? So hope you done that well. And that's going to be the end of this. But before that, if you just want to pause the video and mark your work, please pause the video and just mark your work. Okay? So hope you've done well on that. And that's going to be the end of this session.